Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. If you want unstoppable discipline, this is the moment you commit. Not tomorrow, not after one more video. Right now, what you're about to hear is simple, ancient, and brutally effective. If you follow it, your habits will change. If you don't, nothing will. Stay with me and take responsibility for your own mind. Most people think discipline is about motivation, willpower, or forcing yourself to work harder. That's why they fail. Real discipline is not loud. It doesn't rush, it doesn't beg for motivation. It is quiet, calm, and relentless. Ancient warriors understood this truth centuries ago. They didn't rely on emotions. They built systems that worked even when the mind resisted. Your problem isn't laziness, it's chaos inside your head. Too many impulses, too many choices, no structure. Discipline isn't something you feel. It's something you practice step by step until your behavior obeys you automatically. In the next moments, you'll learn a 6-step path that removes excuses completely. No hype, no tricks, just control, presence, and action. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it, and staying undisciplined will feel harder than staying focused. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep bringing you great content. Chapter 1. The moment you decide discipline does not begin with action. It begins with a decision so quiet that no one else notices, but so firm that your mind cannot escape it. Most people wait for motivation, energy, or the right time. That wait is the trap. Discipline starts the instant you stop negotiating with yourself. Picture an ancient training hall. No noise. No rush. A warrior stands still, not because he is tired, but because he is choosing clarity over chaos. This is where your discipline begins, not by doing more, but by deciding once. The first step is eliminating internal debate. Every time you argue with yourself, "I'll start later, I'm not ready, or just 5 more minutes," you are leaking power. The disciplined mind does not argue. It issues one clear command and follows it. Your task is simple. Choose one non-negotiable action for the day. Not 10, not a list, one. It could be waking up at a fixed time, working for 30 focused minutes, or avoiding one destructive habit. Once chosen, it is no longer a question. It is law. This is why most people fail. They keep discipline flexible. Warriors never do. Flexibility belongs to strategy, not to rules. Rules are fixed, so your mind doesn't waste energy deciding. When you decide once and remove choice, something powerful happens. Resistance weakens. Your brain stops fighting and starts obeying. Discipline feels lighter, not because the work is easy, but because the war inside you has ended. This is the foundation. Without this decision, no system works. With it, even small actions begin to compound into unstoppable control. If you lose the first hour of your day, the rest of the day is already compromised. Ancient disciplined minds understood this. The opening moments decide the rhythm that follows. Discipline is not built across an entire day. It is set at the beginning. Most people wake up and immediately surrender their attention. Phone, messages, noise, opinions. Their mind is hijacked before they even stand up. From that moment on, they are reacting, not leading. A disciplined life cannot be built on reaction. The second step is simple but ruthless. The first hour belongs to you, not the world. In old warrior traditions, mornings were silent. No distractions, no rush. The body was awakened with intention, and the mind was trained before it was exposed to chaos. You must recreate this, even in a modern world. Choose one focused ritual for your first hour. It could be stillness, writing, training, or deep work, but it must be distraction-free. No phone, no scrolling, no input. This is not about productivity, it is about control. Your brain learns patterns quickly. When the first hour is calm and deliberate, your nervous system stays grounded for the rest of the day. Urges weaken, focus sharpens, discipline stops feeling forced. This is why excuses die here. You don't need the whole day to be perfect. You only need the first hour to be intentional. Win that, and momentum carries you forward. Discipline is not about doing more. It's about starting right. Most people fail at discipline because they make the fight too big. They tell themselves they must change everything. Habits, mindset, lifestyle, all at once. The mind rebels, resistance grows, discipline collapses. Ancient systems never worked this way. The third step is this: make discipline small enough that resistance has nowhere to hide. A warrior does not fight an army head-on. He breaks it down, one movement, one strike, one breath at a time. Discipline works the same way. You don't need hours of effort, you need undeniable actions. If you want to build focus, don't aim for 3 hours. Aim for 5 minutes, but 5 minutes with full presence. If you want consistency, don't promise a perfect routine. Promise 1 repetition, 1 page, 1 set, 1 deliberate action. Why does this work? Because the brain resists pain, not effort. When the task feels small, resistance dissolves. And once you start, momentum takes over. Action becomes easier than avoidance. This is how disciplined people stay consistent. They don't rely on willpower. They design actions that are impossible to refuse. Over time, these small actions stack into identity. You stop trying to be disciplined, you become disciplined. Shrink the battle, win it daily. Control follows naturally. Discipline dies in noise. Not physical noise, mental noise. Endless information, opinions, comparisons, and distractions fracture your attention until focus becomes impossible. A disciplined mind is not stronger than others, it is quieter. The 4th step is ruthless. Remove what steals your attention. Ancient disciplined systems were built around silence and limits. Not because the world was simple, but because the mind needed space to function clearly. Today, your biggest enemy is constant input. Every notification trains your brain to seek novelty instead of depth. You don't need more motivation, you need fewer distractions. Choose one major source of noise and cut it. Social media, news, random videos, endless messaging. Not forever, but deliberately. Discipline grows when the mind learns it does not need constant stimulation to feel okay. When noise drops, something strange happens. Focus returns naturally. You don't force it, you don't chase it. Your attention settles like clear water after the mud stops moving. This is why disciplined people appear calm. Their energy isn't leaking everywhere, it is contained. If you want control, stop feeding chaos. Silence is not empty, it is where discipline is born. Up to this point, you have removed excuses, claimed your mornings, shrunk resistance, and cut noise. Now comes the most dangerous step, the one most people never reach. Because this is where discipline stops being a tactic and becomes identity. Every undisciplined person is ruled by impulses. Every disciplined person is ruled by an inner commander. Ancient warriors believed that inside every human mind there are 2 voices. One seeks comfort, escape, and delay. The other seeks order, purpose, and control. Most people let the first voice speak louder. Discipline begins the moment the second voice becomes law. The 5th step is this: separate who you are from what you feel. Your feelings are temporary. Your commander is permanent. You must learn to observe urges without obeying them. Tiredness, boredom, doubt, laziness. These are not commands, they are signals. The disciplined mind acknowledges them and moves anyway. Not aggressively, calmly. In warrior training, students were taught to pause before action. 1 breath, 1 moment of awareness. That pause creates space, and in that space, the inner commander speaks. When you feel resistance, don't ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" Ask, "What is the command?" This changes everything. Because feelings argue, commands don't. Commands don't. At first, your inner commander will feel weak. You will hear excuses louder than orders. That's normal. Authority is built through consistency, not intensity. Each time you follow a command despite resistance, authority grows. Start small but absolute. If the command is a sit and work for 10 minutes, you do it. No negotiation. If the command is a stop scrolling, you stop immediately. No anger, no drama, just execution. Over time, your nervous system adapts. Resistance loses its emotional charge. Discipline stops feeling like force and starts feeling like alignment. You are no longer fighting yourself, you are leading yourself. This is why disciplined people appear powerful without trying. Their mind knows who is in charge. The world cannot control a person who controls their own attention, actions, and reactions. Money, pleasure, fear, pressure all lose their grip when the inner commander stands awake. This is the turning point. You are no longer building habits, you are building authority. And once authority is established inside, excuses have nowhere left to live. Discipline becomes unbreakable only when it stops depending on circumstances. Most people fail here. They build routines that work when life is calm, but collapse the moment stress, boredom, or chaos appears. Ancient systems were different. They were designed not for comfort, but for pressure. The final step is this: attach discipline to identity, not mood. A disciplined person does not wake up asking how they feel. They wake up knowing who they are. In warrior traditions, discipline was never optional. It was not something you practiced only when convenient. It was embedded into daily life so deeply that breaking discipline felt unnatural. You must do the same. Here is the truth most people avoid. If discipline is something you try to do, you will eventually quit. If discipline is who you are, quitting doesn't make sense. This is why the final seal is ruthless but freeing. You define yourself clearly, not with vague labels like a hardworking or motivated with behavior-based identity. You tell yourself, I am the kind of person who finishes what he starts. I am the kind of person who does not negotiate with excuses. I am the kind of person who acts, even when it's uncomfortable. Then you protect this identity at all costs. Every small action becomes a vote. Every time you act with discipline, you reinforce who you are. Every time you break it, you weaken your authority. This awareness alone changes behavior. Ancient warriors trained under one rule: never betray your own standard. Not because punishment was harsh, but because self-respect was sacred. You don't need extreme routines. You don't need perfection. You need consistency that survives bad days. That means when energy is low, you reduce intensity, but never abandon the action. On hard days, discipline becomes smaller, not optional. 5 minutes instead of 50, one action instead of 10, presence instead of force. This is how discipline survives for life. Eventually, something profound happens. You stop feeling proud of discipline. You stop announcing it. You stop thinking about it. It becomes silent, like breathing. Natural, automatic. At that point, distractions lose power. Procrastination feels uncomfortable. Chaos feels foreign. You don't need motivation because discipline has become home. This is the ancient secret. Discipline is not built by pressure. It is sealed by identity. When you know who you are, excuses don't even try to speak. And when excuses disappear, results are inevitable. Discipline becomes unstoppable the moment you stop treating it as an effort and start living it as identity.